Hey guys, we're coming at you this week with episode two of our new series, Frequently Asked Friday. So we've got a couple more questions, sort of from the community, from partners we've spoken to, customers we've spoken to this week, just to sort of let you guys know what the latest things in Azure are, what we've been working on, and sort of really get to grips with some of those questions that are out there. So first up, I think we're talking a little bit about Microsoft Loop. So I'll throw it over to you, Connor.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So we're talking about a little bit about Microsoft Loop and what exactly is Microsoft Loop. So Microsoft Loop is a collaborative sort of space that Microsoft have created where you can sort of organize your company projects, wikis, anything else that you want to kind of bring colleagues together to collaborate on. Perhaps in the past you've had a, big shared, Word doc or, Excel file that everyone in the company's jumped on. Look kind of takes the place of that for everyone in your company to get together and work on a project. Um, and there's some really nice features in there that kind of build on that. So, for example, there's one in there called Loop Components, which sort of breaks down various parts of the sort of pages in Loop into say like example tables, trackers, paragraphs. And the great thing about these is it means you can then share, for example, just a table out of your Loop page, and you can share it through Teams. And it means that then, if you want to share that table and make any edits to it, make any changes that happen while it's shared on Teams will then sync back to the main sort of Loop project and Loop page itself.
No, that sounds really good, really useful, sort of getting that information out of there. In terms of if people have got sort of environments set up already, they're using a couple of different tools. Are there sort of any integrations with like existing applications out there that you can use in Loop?
Yeah, fantastic question. Yeah, so Loop does have integration with some tools you're probably already using. If you're using 365 tools like Planner and To Do, it does have features to pull that stuff in, as well as some third-party tools. So if you're Jira or Trello, it can pull stuff in there as well. So, and I know this is still kind of early on, it is generally available now, but they are including and building out the sort of support for external tools all the time.
No, brilliant. That's good to hear. And another sort of big thing with Microsoft at the minute is obviously the push towards AI and sort of integrating Copilot into a lot of their products. Is there anything like that available for Loop at the minute?
Yeah, so if you do have a Microsoft Copilot license, then you do get a number of AI features within Loop. So you probably have the usual features you've come to expect with sort of AI integration and Copilot in Microsoft and Azure. So, description generations, context-based questions. But one feature I think is really interesting, in my opinion, is a feature called AI generated recaps. And essentially, what it allows you to do is after you make a number of changes to like a page, you can then ask sort of Copilot in Loop to generate you a recap of what's happened and the changes you've made. So it means you can kind of keep your team up to date with what you've been doing and the changes you've been making in the project.
No, that sounds really useful, definitely. No, great overview of Loop there. So let's head on to the next question.
Yeah, so we actually had a question coming from our customers asking a little bit about Azure Arc, kind of what it is, how it can help with hybrid cloud environments. Adam, do you want to take us through Azure Arc a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So Arc is one of the tools within Azure, and it's all about bringing sort of existing resources from like on-prem environments or other cloud providers like Google Cloud or AWS. It's all about bringing those resources from those other environments into Azure, and sort of bringing all those governance controls, the security, the management features of Azure to those resources, and just sort of unifying that whole environment. So it's really helpful for like hybrid cloud environments, which is obviously something we're seeing quite a lot of at the minute. Sort of organizations that either went full into the cloud or organizations that are sort of just dipping their toe in at the moment and sort of just expand into the cloud. It's really helpful to sort of unify those two environments. And especially if you've been working a lot in Azure, it brings all of those familiar controls, all of the familiar governance. So sort of like role-based access control, you've got Azure policy, you've got sort of security bits and defense for cloud. It brings all of those like really useful tools, applies them to your existing resources from other environments. So you can manage them in exactly the same ways you manage your Azure resources. And it really integrates really well with sort of Entra ID, and if you've got sort of Entra domain sync set up, so with your on-prem AD environments and stuff like that, it's really helpful there with like the role-based access. You can use PIM with it as well. So if you're sort of elevating to more privileged roles and stuff like that, it will bring that to your existing resources. So there's really a sort of a big focus on sort of the management and governance and security really, and expanding those tools that are already there in Azure to those existing resources. And that's what Azure Arc's all about, really.
Yeah, that sounds really, really useful, and it sounds like from it that it integrates really well. How are you onboarding these resources into Azure Arc?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways you can do it. It's quite simple, really. So the main way of doing it is going through the Azure portal, and then you can choose to either onboard sort of single servers or single devices or resources, or multiple servers at once. So if you're onboarding sort of single servers, you're provided with a script that will put it straight into your Arc environment in Azure. It will basically prompt you to sign into your Enter ID account and just to authenticate and get that all set up. Or alternatively, if you're looking at deploying it to a large number of devices at once, so if you've got like a cluster of servers on-prem, or you've got a lot of servers deployed in AWS or something, for example, it will provide you with a script to onboard those devices, but using a service principal instead. So it will set up a service principal for you in your Azure tenant, and then go through and automatically onboard all of those devices, so you don't have to sort of touch every single device and sign in every time. So it's quite automated and sort of brings the time down quite a lot, and it's sort of a really easy process to go through. And basically, once you've run those scripts on whatever you're trying to onboard to Arc, they're then visible in the Azure portal, and you're ready to go.
Awesome, that sounds fantastic. When it comes to obviously, monitoring, it's become like a huge part for a lot of people, be able to keep track of their resources, what the resources are up to. Do you still get all of those features as well when you're using Azure Arc?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the big benefits of using Arc. So once you've onboarded your devices, you can then use all the sort of native Azure tools for monitoring, logging, and sort of pulling the data out of those logs and sort of transforming that data into dashboards and things like that, reporting on that data. It brings all of those features to the devices you onboard to Arc, and it's really useful for stuff like that. Another aspect of it is sort of update management. So you can use Azure Update Manager for all of the machines that you onboard into Arc. Set those up with your maintenance schedules, your patch schedules, like your Azure VMs and your Azure servers, and get them all sort of synced up and working at the same time. So in some cases, it can even sort of be a bit of a replacement for sort of remote management tools, remote management dashboards, things like that as well. Just unifying all those resources in one place and bringing the login, the monitoring, the alerting, update management. It's really is sort of a complete package, a complete solution. It just brings all of those tools to your existing resources.
Well, yeah, it sounds like it's so seamless that you probably forget their resources are even on-prem at some point. But no, that sounds awesome.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so we'll throw it back to ourselves. Yeah, so those are our questions for today. Talking a little bit about Microsoft Loop and Azure Arc. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and let us know, and hopefully get them answered. But that's us for this week. So thank you all for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe if you wish. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you all next week.